Welcome to Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting. Be bold, be brave, be extraordinary, be vulnerable, be real, be curious, be true, be you. Welcome to Trusting Your Gut with world-class energy intuitive Catherine McIntosh, a show designed to awaken you to enjoy the process of evolving, have fun along the way, and learn to listen to those silent in-between moments. You are the expert of your own life, and nobody knows more about the next steps to take in your journey than you. So please, listen to your gut and discover what's waiting for you to explore. Here is your host, Catherine McIntosh.
All right, everyone. So welcome to today's show. I'm really excited to get started with you. And today's topic is a very near and dear topic, close to my heart. But I believe that if you're tuning in and listening, it will probably hit home for you. And I hope that it hits home for you in a different way. So today we're talking about the vibration of fear. And most people I talk to, I'm a world-class international intuitive consultant, and I have been fortunate enough to work with some of the world's wealthiest, work with some really famous people in the world whose names you would know. And, they always are surprised by what occurs. And sometimes when I have conversations with these people, the fear is still there. And I think for, people who are basically trying to take a leap, take a risk, and do something different in their lives, this might be you. We allow the idea of fear to stop us. And here's what I think happens is most people go, well, I need to get rid of this fear in order to write my book, or I need to get rid of this fear in order to start doing lives, like live events or live Facebooks or, live in the world, now in social media, like everything. A lot of people feel like they need to get over the fear in order to get comfortable being on camera. Now, remember, I don't remember who it was, but there was a famous musician, someone like Beyonce or Pink or someone like that. And I remember them saying, "The day that I go on stage where I don't feel nerves is the day I should stop performing." And what that means is that when you experience fear, that fear is actually healthy. So today, my target is to offer you perhaps a perspective that might flip the script for you. Because here's the deal. You and wherever you are on your journey, you have something to offer someone. And the life that you've been through, the experiences that you've gone through, the traumas, the shames, the disconnect, it offers you a way to help other people who may be where you used to be. And so sometimes we have this misnomer that we have to be farther along our path than we actually are. And what I want to offer you today is that exactly where you are, there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, maybe even millions of people who could benefit from where you were and where you are now. And it might not be where you want to be ultimately, but the truth is, we always want to be farther along than we are. We always want to be farther along than we are. And so, this is to offer a different perspective on fear and invite you to consider possibly that it isn't about getting rid of the fear. It's about doing it anyway. And great, easier said than done, because when all of the sudden that sensation comes rushing through your body and your palms are sweaty and your heart's pounding and your head feels like it's going to explode and every like molecule is coursing through your body at a rapid rate, we tend to go, "Oh my gosh, that's really intense. Oh my gosh, that's too much energy." And the reason why it feels like too much energy is because you don't yet have a frame of reference for that energy being a catalyst for new possibility. And so the energy of vibrate or the vibration of fear is the exact same vibration as excitement. So these two vibrations, they're like pounding, right? And what happens is we tend to label that vibration as fear if we don't have a frame of reference for that vibration or for that experience. And so we say, "Oh my gosh, I'm afraid." This is fear. And so the rational part inside of us, or the survivor, or the reptilian brain, or the fight or flight kicks in and goes, "I need to mitigate this vibration so that I can feel safe taking a leap or offering this new thing or getting on the radio or doing whatever it is that you have dreams of doing." But check this out. Vibration of excitement, same sensations coursing through the body, sweaty palms, heart beating fast, the blood pumping through your body at a really rapid rate. And let's say you're like, "Wow, I'm excited," because you have a frame of reference for that excitement. And I've talked about this in previous shows, right? Where that vibration is identical. One, the first one, the fear, labeling it as fear, we don't have a frame of reference. So we say we're afraid, right? Sometimes we might not have a frame of reference in as a personal experience, but we have a frame of reference because it's something I've dreamed of my whole life. Now, you ask most brides walking down the aisle if they're afraid or they're excited, and they'll say excited. But check this out, if you ask most men at that same point of watching their bride walk down the aisle, most men might say they're terrified. And so it's simply shifting the perspective on that energy. And so when you are faced with sweaty palms, heart beating fast, maybe your head's pounding, you've got tons of blood rushing through, and there's so much energy coursing through your body, right? Same exact experience, just from a different viewpoint, a bride versus a groom. But check this out. For you, it's you can say you're excited about something if you have a frame of reference. So I did this example, I think, in a previous episode about bungee jumping. Someone who has never bungee jumped before is standing on top of a bridge. They're strapped in. They're working with a company who's done thousands of bungee jumps. It's safe. They know it's safe. They're about to do it. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified. But you put that same person, you know, at the end of that experience, and they're like, "That was amazing." So now they have a frame of reference for that experience. So the next time they stand on top of that bridge about to bungee jump, they might say, "Oh my god, it's still terrifying," but there's a voice inside their head remembering the frame of reference of the experience in which they can now identify and label that experience as exciting. I have parachuted out of an airplane twice, and the first time I remember getting there and I had someone else strapped to my back, right? Like, I was in the front, they were in the back. It was an expert. They had done thousands of jumps, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm about to jump out of a plane," but I got to trust the person's expertise, and it was actually quite exciting. And so, being the extreme daredevil that I tend to be, or just I'm an extremist in all levels, my second time that I did this same jump, but with a different person, they looked at me and said, "Are you ready?" I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Whatever you want." That was a huge mistake. And here's why. Because the second time I did it, I was super excited, ready to fricking jump and just like experience that euphoria. Well, instead, this driver of our parachute decided that it would be an awesome idea to spin me and spin me and spin me. So I don't know how many 360s we did in the course of by the time we, you know, let the parachute go and catch us, and then we started spinning. I got down from that, excuse me, excuse me, feeling extremely euphoric, but I spent the next 6 hours in fetal position in bed thinking I was gonna throw up. It was not a very fun experience. But the point I'm trying to make is that when we have experiences now, if I wouldn't have used my first experience as a frame of reference, and I just pretended that it was my first time and went, "I can't wait to have a great experience," then perhaps my driver of my parachute might have done something different and not spun me around so much. And so my second experience was not great because I was frame of referencing that I would have the same kind of experience I did the first time. That was not true. And I think we make that mistake a lot in life, in which we start to calculate or identify or label or use a frame of reference from a past experience. And I believe this is a huge mistake in our lives. And so, this vibration of sweaty palms, heart pounding, blood racing through the body at a rapid rate 99% of the time, it's actually excitement. We just have been used to mislabeling that energy. And so imagine for a second something that you've wanted to do your whole life, like quit your job. And you go, I'm terrified to quit my job. Now, the reason you're terrified might be financial, might be you're afraid of getting judged, might be you don't know what you're going to do. It might be a laundry list of reasons. But if you really take a moment to check in with yourself, to close your eyes, to go inside and sense the vibration of quitting your job, how many of you have sat at your desk or, sat at your job or worked for someone else laboring 8 to 12 hours a day and you're like, "Oh my god." And you dream of the day where you can go up to your boss and say, "I quit." Right? You might notice that if you imagine that scenario, it's actually quite exciting. It's actually quite enlivening. It's actually quite liberating to be able to say to someone that you're done with something that's no longer serving you in your path, or it served its purpose and you're ready to let go and try something new. And, you know, there are statistics that most people want to secure what's next before they leave their current situation. And that's true in almost anything. It's true in business, it's true in relationships. People do this all the time. They know they're supposed to leave their partner. They're not happy with their current relationship, yet they won't leave until someone else comes along. And you see it all the time, right? Whether it's boyfriends or girlfriends cheating and then the relationship ends, or it's husband and wife and one side of the party cheats or both parties cheat, and then it's the end of the marriage. And that's a perfect example of most people don't feel comfortable leaving their current situation in order to make room for what's next. But here's what happens is sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when you don't leave your current situation, you're still in the same vibration. So you might attract a new relationship, but that relationship is the same vibration of the one you just left. I hope this is a huge aha. Not always. This isn't like a blanket statement, but this is usually true. And it's not until somebody lets go of a relationship that's no longer working that they spend time changing their vibration. And then now they have a new resonance, they have a new vibration, they have a new outlook on life. They have a new outlook on their self esteem. They're okay with being alone. When you get to that point, you're going to be able to attract a much different vibration than your previous relationship. But if you leave a relationship while you get a new one while you're already in one that's not working, chances are that relationship you just found, you have rose-colored lenses and you're like, "Oh, it's gonna be different than the last one." And more often than not, it's not that different. You find out months in, years in that, wow, you just got into a relationship. Maybe they have different color eyes, different skin color, different hair. Maybe they look exactly the same. I have friends that leave their current partners and they go on to find a new partner, and the new partner looks or acts just like the old one. And so, what does it have to do with fear? The point is that may this be a reminder to you to take a moment, to take a step back, to take a breath in and pause before you go ahead labeling someone or labeling something. So the label in today's case is fear and vibration, fear and excitement, exact same vibration. And so next time you want to say you're afraid, you actually might want to pause and see if you're actually excited. And so this weekend, I actually had the pleasure of being a part of Jack Canfield and Patty Aubrey's 3-day live event called Breakthrough to Success. I worked with Jack and Patty in the past and was invited to be a part of this 3-day workshop. And I couldn't be part of it the entire time. I'm a single mom. I am dealing with a lot, and I'm also a soccer mom, right? So my son had 3 soccer games this weekend, and so I'm not only juggling a business and being a mom and being there for my son, I'm also juggling just navigating all things, and so I have to pick and choose things. So I was able to be part of this workshop for a good bit of it. And in the workshop, there was a woman who said, "Well, I want to work with someone and get to the root of the DNA of the fear that I have, because here's the truth. The truth is that 90 plus percent of your fear that you currently have coursing through your body, and then you're accustomed to labeling that energy that's coursing through your body as fear, because maybe in the womb your father lost his job and your mother was freaked out. And so that familiar energetic pump of fear, right? Or it was just an energetic pump, and you get out of the womb and you're like, okay, we're going to create this life together. And your mother keeps like suffering from her own paralyzation, from her own fear. You then grow up as an adult and you get stuck in certain areas and you're like, why am I afraid? Why can't I? Let me get to the root of this DNA. And you know what? If that is something you're called to do, by all means go for it. And I want to say this is the thing that we think we need to work on is not always the thing that we actually need to work on. And here's what I want to say about that is when we say something, this is my problem, right? A lot of people who struggle with their weight say, my weight is my problem. So therefore, they name the problem, and then they name the diagnosis or the solution that they think will solve the problem. But here's the deal. Most people name a problem that is not actually the problem. So this woman said, I need to get to the root DNA fear and change the DNA vibration of the fear in my body. And I was like, awesome. I support you in that. And I also said something, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I just said, and I want to offer you a different perspective for just a second, which is the thing that we think we need to get rid of, the thing that we think we need to solve, the problem, right? The solution that we come up with is generally not actually the truth, because the minute that you name the problem, if it was actually the problem, the energy would start to shift. And so I'm going to give you guys an example. I had someone that I was working with, and this actually happens a lot to me with a lot of my clients. Is someone will come and say, "I have something in my belly. I haven't been able to lose weight just in my belly." And, other people come with different places, but belly specifically is a huge thing for women. And then they say, oh, it's because of my hormones, or oh, it's because I birthed 4 babies, or oh, it's because I'm in my 60s, or oh, it's because I had surgery on my abdomen when I was 20 and had a fatal, almost near fatal car accident. They come up with the thing, the problem, right? And then they go, "Oh, let me solve the problem." And here's what happens with most women who struggle with their bellies. And so if you are listening to this and you've struggled with your weight around your abdomen, male or female, hello, sweetness. She says hi from Sweden. So if you guys are listening, you can absolutely tune in. If you have questions and you want me to answer them, I will take them live after the break. You can also even call into the studio, and I'll give you that number in a second. So here's the deal is most women, and it's primarily women who come to me complaining about their weight around their abdomen, try to resolve it by calorie restriction. Maybe they start taking on an exercise regimen. Maybe they start doing all these different things to try to come up with a solution to fix the problem. If the solution they came up with actually fixed the problem, then you're right on the money on what the problem was. But if the solution that you come up with, and you do this solution for 3 months, for 6 months, for 12 months, and it is not moving the needle on your problem, then the solution you came up with is not the correct solution. So therefore, the problem you're trying to solve is not the actual problem. And let me give you this example. So so this woman comes, she's got all these abdomen issues, and I start asking her, how long have you had this issue? She goes, my whole life. I feel like this isn't part of my body. I can never do anything with it. I feels foreign. I don't like it. I'm always trying to hide it. No matter what I do to change it, it won't change. And we got to a moment in her childhood around the age of 3. And I said, your problem isn't that you haven't been able to lose weight. The problem is that I think there's another energy in your body that isn't yours. And it's stuck right around your abdomen. And I cannot tell you the number of particularly women who I have worked with in this area where we just go in, we say hi to the energy of the lifetime or the experience in this lifetime where that energy got stuck in their body, and then we remove it. And it's pretty darn easy to do. I mean, I say that with 20 plus 25 years of experience of working with people's bodies and being able to identify physically where in their body they're stuck, and then take them through a process to shift that energy. And most people want an instant shift, but um, the shift can happen instantaneously, but the physical manifestation of that shift may take a little bit of time. And this is where we have to be patient. And so we went along and we cleared this energy out of this woman's abdomen. And this is a 40 something year old woman. And this thing has been around in her body since she was 3. And she got off the table and she goes, oh my gosh, I feel completely different. And so I want to invite you to consider that if you are trying to get rid of fear, and you were like this woman saying, I want to get rid of or get to the root of the DNA of the fear in my body, here's the deal. If you were in the womb for 9 or 10 months with a mother who had extreme anxiety or extreme depression or extreme fear, and you're trying to get rid of that fear, get rid of that thing, it's not yours to get rid of. You can't change what isn't yours. And so you actually have to to start to practice rehearsing, refamiliarizing yourself with that vibration, and then giving it a different meaning, giving it a different energy, giving it a different possibility. So imagine next time that happens and you're faced with wanting to identify that vibration as fear, and you go, wait a second, fear and excitement are the exact same thing. What happens in my life if I just practiced shifting the label that I keep giving that vibration? And yes, there are things that you can do, to heal some energies in your body that would change it, but you're never going to get rid of fear 1000%. You are never going to get rid of fear 1000%. There's almost 8 billion people on the planet, and you're intuitive and sensitive and aware. And so your neighbor might be terrified and you're sensing it and you're like, oh, it's mine. Oh, it's mine. No, it might not be yours, not even close. And so this is information. And, Tony Robbins talks about this, Ed Milet talks about this, Patty Aubrey and Jack Canfield talked about it this weekend in their weekend workshop, Breakthrough to Success. And it's Suzanne says, you are talking about me today. Yeah, I'm probably talking to almost every single person that's ever had a dream in their lives, and they've used the excuse that they're afraid to stop them from taking action. And so all of the great people that I know, Lewis Howes talks about this, Tom Bilyeu talks about this, Lisa Bilyeu talks about this, is that fear is going to be there, right? Fear of success is going to be there. Fear of failure is going to be there. Stop expecting yourself to get rid of that energy in order to create, because that would be like cleaning your house. And I'm sure most of you have had this experience. You clean your house, you feel so good, and 2 days later, you have to vacuum again. Or the next day, you still find dust bunnies, right? You can't expect to have an immaculate home 99% of the time unless you have a full-time house cleaner going around cleaning every single dust bunny all the time. So once you start to get comfortable with the idea that fear is always going to be there, now you have a platform to create a different strategy or different practice or a different possibility for your next step. Because this is just my personal opinion. If you have been working on fear for more than 5 years, here's my tidbit to you. Stop working on fear. It ain't going to get you any farther. Start working on your confidence. Start working on taking action anyway. Start working on building up your physical body. Start working on building up your energetic body. Start practicing and putting in place things that you can do on a daily basis, right? That build up a resume of possibilities. And then you will start to have a different relationship with fear, because it isn't about getting rid of it. It's about creating a different relationship with it. So stay tuned. We're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, you're welcome to call in and ask me any question you specifically have about fear in your life. And I would be happy to facilitate you having an awakening, having an aha, and you can call in into the station. I'll give you the number. So the number to call in, if you would like to, is 202-570-7057. Call that number and we'd be happy to have a conversation with you with a specific area of your life. So stay tuned and we'll be back after this.
Om Times TV.
Do you trust you? Do you trust your body? What if the key to unlocking the weight, pain, suffering, fear, anxiety, addictions, traumas and sorrows was already inside of you. Learn to love the skin you are in so you can create the body, business, and life you love. Everyone always says you can't explain what Catherine does, you just have to experience it. From Hollywood actors to New York Times best-selling authors to some of the world's wealthiest and most successful, no two experiences are the same. For private sessions, online courses, live events, and the latest book Jack Canfield calls Game Changer and should be required reading for everyone, go to katherinemcintosh.com. KatherineMcintosh.com.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Ohm Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Ohm Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Ohm Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Ohm Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Ohm Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Ohm Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
All right, my magical friends. So welcome back from the break. Before we took a break, you are invited, if you didn't hear it yet, to call in live. And the number to call in live is 202-570-7057. And you can ask me any question you want related to this topic today about fear. And, if you are not in the US and can't call in directly and you are streaming and in the chat, you're welcome to ask a question about it. But here's what I want to ask. If you do have something that you have been struggling with and you're like, I need to get rid of this fear, I'd like you to be as specific as you can, because here's the deal. The more specific you are about the issue you've been having, and most people, we're all really cute. Sometimes it takes us a little bit longer to get it in our own lives, but we keep repeating the same pattern over and over again. We keep coming up with a problem. And if you've been coming up with a problem that you have in your life in regards to fear, and you're like, I'm afraid of this, that's why I can't do it. I have to get rid of the fear before I can do it. I want to invite you to consider that the label that you've placed about the fear, and you've maybe spent, let's say, a decade on trying to find a solution to that fear, you're working on the wrong problem. And it's not about getting rid of the fear so much as it might be developing a level of self-confidence. And so I want to give you guys where did it go? I have a rubber band. Oh, did that just really happen? Please tell me. I'm still live. Okay, good. My computer went blank. So I want to give you a demonstration for how this can work. And this is, if you're somebody who likes to dream, who likes to vision, and you don't feel like you're making as much progress in your life as you'd like, this is sort of a demonstration of how you can do that. So if you're watching live, if you're listening, basically I have a rubber band in my hands and I'm stretching the rubber band with my thumbs as far in the opposite direction as I can go. And so if you can watch this live, it's definitely a little bit more effective. But let's say you have a dream or a vision or a goal, and you keep like, okay, I'm going to go after it. The way that, which is exciting, it's exciting to dream. It's exciting to think that you could move houses, that you could change your financial reality. It's exciting to consider being able to shift your relationship or create a new one, right? It's exciting to think about all the things that could go right in your life. But most of us rehearse and practice all the things that could go wrong, and we're really good at it. And so check this out. If we are talking about the vibration of fear and excitement, right? Most people, they want to spend enough time and energy on their dream, on the vibration of excitement, on the possibilities, on the moving the needle forward. But the truth is, the minute someone starts to dream really big, right? And I've got this rubber band stretched in opposite directions, they start to dream really big. What happens? One of two things happen. You either keep your energy on the excitement, keep your energy on the excitement, keep your energy on the excitement. Practice what it feels like to overcome your fears. Practice what it feels like to be living your best life. Practice what it feels like to have enough money to do whatever you want whenever you want. Practice what it feels like to make a huge difference in people's lives, to overcome your fear of speaking, to overcome your fear of failure. And so if you spend enough time practicing, guess what? This creates tension, and there's tension. So vibrations create tension in the body. And so you've got this vibration going on, this tension going on between these two opposing opposites. The possibility of a new dream, a new life, a new living, and then the reality of the fear that you keep letting stop you. But if you, that hurts my wrists after a long time. But if you keep maintaining, see what I did? Even naturally, I let go of the tension. And so what happens is, which one won? The dream won because I was so invested in hanging on to the energy of keeping that dream alive. But what happens in most people's lives is they're like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this dream. I'm gonna start doing this dream. And maybe they do it for a day or a week or a new diet or a new financial plan or a new possibility with their relationship and their partner. And so they have this tension going. But what most people do is they go, oh my God, I can't, I can't, I can't, I can't. I'm too scared. And they let go of the tension. And all of a sudden they're left with all of the reasons why they can't go after their dreams. They're left with the vibration of fear. And so the truth is, if you energize one vibration, so you shift the label over and over and over again. So you're used to labeling it as fear. You shift that label to excitement. What if, wait, remember listening to that? What if you're actually excited? What if I'm actually excited and I've gotten it wrong this entire time? Oh my goodness. What if it's actually excitement? You start labeling it and giving it a label more. I promise you, it is going to change your life. And then that vibration, guess what? Because when you let go of tension on a rubber band, if I were really to let go, it snaps towards the direction where I am hanging on to the energy more. So if I hang on to fear more and I let go of that tension and I give up, oh my gosh, just snapped me back into more fear and is a catalyst for me to live my life in fear. But if I maintain that vibration of excitement, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this, and I'm going to spend more energy on this excitement, right? I'm going to spend more time on this. Okay, I'm going to let go. And all of a sudden, whoop, I just snapped myself into being a catalyst for engaging in excitement more often than I engage in fear. And when you start practicing this, I promise you, you'll stop thinking you need to work on your fear and you'll recognize you need to work on your excitement. Is that an aha or what? Wow. Okay. So, I'm gonna thank you. So Suzanne from Sweden has wrote in because she can't call in, and it's so cute. So I'm gonna read this. And Suzanne, do I have your permission to basically unedited give you the information that you may or may not, it may or may not contribute to you? And so okay, she says yes, great. So I'm going to do my best, and this is how I work is I used to shut this part of me off for a very long time, which was I thought that um this information that I had about being able to read people and where they might be stuck in their lives and where they might be able to move forward, I thought that I needed to approach it differently. So I stopped myself from being the best version of Catherine I can be. And so I started this radio show because I wanted people like Suzanne, like you, if you're listening, to be able to have a safe space where you can call in. Yes, it's broadcasted on the radio, but here's the deal. How many people have you told your story to and you're still in the same place? It's because you haven't been practicing shifting your perspective and starting to tell yourself a different story. It doesn't mean that the energy of what you're trying to change disappears. It's never going to disappear. My judgments that I have of my body, they're never going to disappear. I just have to practice giving myself a label of different judgments, right? So, So I will offer my opinion. Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm an intuitive. I was born it. I've spent the last 2 decades intensively studying and researching the science, the metaphysics, the energetics, the physical, and I will do my freaking best to offer what may contribute to you. And I'm going to ask each of you listening, because when one of you says it, it usually applies to a lot of us. It just might be in a different area of your life. And so when I offer whatever I offer, please don't think that I'm right. I want you to see if what I'm offering feels like it's a truth, because when we look at a molecule, and we're looking at the right molecule, not the problem molecule, the right molecule, and it actually changes and things start to shift in your life, then that's the correct possible solution, if that makes any sense. So, here's what Suzanne writes. She says, I stop myself. Everything in my life is about to happen, and I go into freeze. I've had a story of being evil in an earlier life. I'm about to release that, but it scares me to change that story, which is so fascinating. We all have these stories and we're like, I'm afraid to change it. And look, I am no different. I have plenty of stuff that I am working on, right? So she says, I'm afraid of having it all, being the healer that I am, having a man that I love. I'm afraid I will lose it all if I choose it. Now, I love what Suzanne writes because she's probably speaking for a lot of people. And then she says, so I stay silent and I'm fed up with me now. Now, you guys can all get the vibration of that story, right? And while you can get the vibration of Suzanne's story, you also hear the vibration inside of her that has this energy, right? That is like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of having it all, right? Being the healer, having the man that I love, right? And I'm afraid I'll lose it if I choose it. Well, here's what's freaking fascinating. She in this, so you can feel the vibration of her story. You can also feel the vibration of the possibilities she could have in her life if she let go, or not, if she just shifted the story she's telling herself. So I'm just going to rephrase this for a second. If Suzanne came out and said, I know that I'm an amazing healer and I'm looking to have a man that I love and just have it all. And I know that I have some energy that's afraid of trying it, but I'm going to try it anyway. Cuz what do I have to lose? that flips the story. So she doesn't have to go from 0 to 10,000 and say, "Oh my gosh, I need to not have this story at all." She just needs to start to learn how to flip the story. And so I love what Suzanne's offering, and I'm going to be a little bit direct with you if that's okay. And I believe she said yes, so I have her permission. And if this resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, great. And all of you listening, please listen and see if this resonates with you. Is most of you have a story. She says, everything in my life is about to happen and I go into freeze. I've had a story of being evil in an earlier life. And how fascinating that this story of evil is the story that she's been hanging on to. So, Suzanne, you've been hanging on to a story of evil, but you also have a story of doing good in the world. Where's that story? Why isn't that story as the one in the front? And so here's what I want to say is that you say you're afraid of having it all. Are you actually afraid of having it all? Or are you excited to have it all? And you've created a story that you're not good enough to have it all. It's not that you're afraid of having it all. It's that you have a story that you're not good enough to have it all, or that you need to be or do something different to prove you can have it. And this is a story that most people have, to some to a much greater degree of debilitation than others, is you have a story that you're not enough. But the way that the story that you're not enough manifests is you go, "Oh, I can't have it all. Oh, I'm evil." Rather than, "Wow, somewhere in my world I created, I'm not enough." And so here's what I want to offer. And Suzanne, if you're there, which I know you are because you've been communicating with us, thank you. And for any of you who resonates with Suzanne's story, I'm going to invite you, Suzanne, to just sort of expand your energy out. And I want you to energetically say hi to the part of you that thinks you're evil. And so if you need to close your eyes, close your eyes. You're just going to kind of like surrender your energy a little bit. Let your energy be as big as you possibly can. And when I say your energy be as big as you possibly can, the you that is amazing, that is vibrant, that is beautiful, that is sexy, that knows she can have it all, but doesn't let herself. And so she says, I'm afraid I will lose it all if I choose it. That's the excuse we almost all tell ourselves to some degree or another. It's not that she's afraid she'll lose it. Somewhere in her world, she's decided she's not enough. So it's easier to blame it on losing it, because losing it means she's not responsible for keeping it. It'll get taken away from me. It's not my fault. It won't get taken away from you if you trust you. And so, you guys with me on this? So, Suzanne, I want you to say hi to that place that you've labeled your whole life as evil. And any other lifetime, there you go. And I want you to notice where in your body you feel that energy the most. And then if you could type it in the chat. Excuse me for my yawns. My yawns are usually the way that I clear energy. It's just part of my body's way of doing it. Yeah. And so, wherever in your physical body you can feel that energy, I want you to say hi to that energy. And then, is it true that you're evil? Heart and throat. Okay, so that's exactly, I was feeling it all in here. I didn't want to say anything because I was waiting for her to respond, but all in here, right? And as somebody who's been working with bodies for over 20 years, my body usually shows me exactly where I can perceive it in whoever I'm talking to, even if it's an entire group of people. So she says, heart and throat, I want you to say hi to that energy, say hi to that evil, say hi to that whatever that is, and I just want you to ask what's underneath it. Yeah. And most of you will find that what's underneath the thing that you're labeling that's stopping you is usually the thing that you need to start energizing. And the more you energize it, the more it will open possibility after possibility after possibility after possibility. And so, for those of you, I would love to take this further, but we do have to wrap up today's show. But for those of you listening, I'm going to invite you, everything that you're labeling evil, afraid, scared, not enough, want you to take a moment and find where in your body that's existing. Say hi to it where in your body it's existing. And then ask, if you weren't labeling it as that, what's underneath it? And then what you can do is whatever's underneath it is where you flip the story. So in Suzanne's case, I'm afraid I will lose it if I choose it. My response back to her is no. You're afraid that of being good enough, right? Or you decided you're not good enough. And so to change the story of, wow, I can have it all, the relationship, the healing business, the joy, the travel, I can have it all. And I know that I have this energy of fear that isn't real and doesn't have to stop me. And that's how you start flipping the script. So, my friends, I just want to thank you for joining us today, for being here. For those of you live, thank you for being live. If you're like, I want to call in next time, stay tuned for next week's show. I can't wait to see what you create, and I hope today contributed to you. Until next time.
Catherine is not a medical practitioner nor a licensed therapist. She has strong opinions and will express them, and truly believes that you are your best advocate for any and every area of your life. If you need medical advice, please consult your physician.